With the release of AOT Revolution, I thought it'd be as good of a time as any to make a video about how to complete one of my favorite Roblox games in the scene right now. One of the best AOT games in the Roblox scene right now. That being Freedom War, or Attack on Titan Freedom War, if you would. Attack on Titan Freedom War is very different from the others of the genre, such as Revolution and Titan Warfare, where those two focus on mission based gameplay and PvP versus others, respectively. Freedom War takes its own special approach to it, that being more of a campaign style thing. Instead of going into a mission and doing the same bandit beater type stuff, you go in, you meet people, and some of those people are they're interesting. That's to say the least. You know, with so much saturation in the current genre, I feel as though people should get more recognition to this game. And I feel if I can help people graduate from a cadet to enlisted in no time flat, then maybe this game could grow in popularity. A lot of people struggle with completing the campaign for this game. Most cite it as just too difficult for them or just not possible. And some of the people of the community respond pretty negatively, I guess, with most saying skill gap. Obviously, could be a joke, but it doesn't really help those who genuinely show an interest in the game. So my goal with this video is to help those who want to play the game get through it and cite some common mistakes made that I made, because if I'm being 100% honest, it took me like 3 to 4 attempts to complete the tutorial, and I had a lot of help from one of my friends who's been playing this game for a lot longer than I have. Well, when you load into the tutorial, you kind of just go through this whole instructor explaining things. He talks about how to cast your hooks, how to drift, how to boost, how to equip your blades, drop them, swing your blades, break, all the basic combat stuff. And I'll just cite all the important stuff from it. That being with the sight kill. So I made a little bit of an oopsie. That being that I accidentally loaded in the final exam, which is the hardest part for most people. So before it actually starts, I'm going to try to demonstrate how to kill a Titan as a new player. Some of the more advanced players go for decaps, and they go for orbits, they go for leg orbits, they go for all this type of stuff. You don't really need to know that right now. All you need to know is that, especially for these examples here, on normal Titans, you have legs. They, if you slash both of them, they get on their knee, and they are unable to hit you, but they can grab you. But for this example with these Titans here, since they don't really have, they do have legs, it's behind them, but to really slash them, you have to go around. It's a lot of a process. But to complete the final exam, which if you don't complete the final exam, you can't really experience the rest of the game, which is why it's such a roadblock for most people. You just want to basically grapple onto his eyes with Q or E or both. I typically do what I call the Spider-Man method, which is just one hook at a time. You go at it, you boost as you're going at it, and then right before you hit it, you charge up your swing and let go. And hopefully, he'll get blinded. While a Titan is blind, you see now as I walk around and run around using shift, like most games, he kind of follows me. But if you blind him or cut both of his legs, he can't do that. They'll have an animation where they cover their eyes while they heal it, like in the show. And while they do this, you can walk around or orbit around with your blades, or orbit around with your hooks, and get around and slice their nape. So just again, boost, and right before you do it, you can let go, and then you just go in for the kill, like that. As you see, my blades broke, which is a very common problem for the final exam, especially if you go for blinds, but I believe you have enough to get, even if you miss a couple times, you can still, you can practice killing them before doing the final exam. I'd recommend that to be the case. But that's all you really need to know about killing Titans. You just have to go at it, slice their eyes while boosting with spacebar, and then you slice their nape, and bam, they're done. And then after they die, they'll disappear. Their body will disappear after a couple seconds. Some core movement things is that you can only hook onto objects that are brown. That's a pretty good thing to stand by. The wall, the big wall that you can hook onto that's white. Buildings you can hook onto, but like for example, trees you can hook onto those. You can hook onto buildings like these. These are brown. Titans aren't brown, but you can hook onto them. But you cannot hook onto the floor, except for a special part of the floor that is brown in certain areas. You can hook onto that. I believe it was done so that It's not, you can't just travel around at god speed with the floor and make orbiting useless. So with that out of the way, I will get to the hardest part of the tutorial, the final exam. To begin the final exam, you complete all the instructor's things. You get to this part that says final exam at the top. And make sure to reload before doing it, because you're going to want all of it you can to complete it. So he'll say, are you ready for your final exam? You press enter to continue. And with the best of luck, you go for it. You have 150 seconds to kill 5 titans. So just remember what I taught you, except I clearly can't. Is this titan bugged? This titan might be bugged. With that in mind, that one was kind of bugged. I don't really know. But yeah, just as I taught you before, go for the eyes, go for the nape, and then just repeat. There will be about 8 or 9 titans, I believe, in the area, so you'll have plenty of targets to get this exam done. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about the time. Always, you're not limited to a certain number of tries, obviously. So if you fail once, like I am missing right now, you can always retry it, and you'll only get better. I promise you. Do not give up. This game has such potential. Dank, the owner and creator of the game, has put so much time and effort into it. And with that, after cutting the final eyes, going around, and cutting the nape, I passed the exam. Congratulations, I have promoted from cadet to enlisted. Obviously, it's not a real thing in the game, but I like to think of it as just that sort of thing. And as you wrap up the tutorial, you now gain access to the rest of the game, which will be seen with campaign, where you go to public and you can join a bunch of lobbies. Though I would recommend to go to training first, go to practice, and you go to practice in private or public. I'd recommend private at first, and then if you want to, you could go to public after a while. But I'd recommend going to private, trying to do some basic practice, because campaign is one heck of a thing. I can guarantee you that much. It's quite the experience, that's for sure. Since the community is pretty like small in comparison to say Revolution's at like I think 120,000 people in its Discord right now. It's pretty strong in the player base, but I feel as though the community of Freedom War is probably stronger just because they're very welcoming. They really want people to join because, you know, it's small, so every person that joins just makes the lobbies more active. It makes the player count go up. It would encourage Dank to maybe work harder to get more content out. Not that he doesn't. This game is really good, especially once you get to stage 14. There's a huge surprise there that's just beautiful to see. Stage 15, the whole campaign is a really enjoyable experience, especially if you have friends. That would be a pretty interesting to see, an interesting experience if you play with friends. Campaign is full of interesting people. You can make friends on this game. You can see some interesting folk who will make the most interesting quippy one-liners you'll ever see. There's some wild stuff that goes on in the chat, but overall, this game is something that I hope to continue making uploads for, hoping that you guys enjoy it, so I can continue to enjoy it myself, because this game is a truly hidden treasure amongst the saturated Roblox simulators and bandit beaters that we have today. Otherwise, have a lovely day, everyone.